The co-op farm in the San Juan Islands Farm Valley is successfully up and running. The owners have settled in and are starting to grow crops to sell at the local markets. Meanwhile, the Digby Family Farm is still doing well and is planning to expand into some of the adjacent lots. Other farmers have also started to develop their farms in the valley. The retirement village is attracting new residents, and developers plan to expand into the nearby hills. And the local high school is now at capacity. Hello, I'm Poplar Ponderosa, and welcome to part 4 of the San Juan Islands, Canada. In this episode, we will start by detailing the co-op farm, the Digby Family Farm, and then into the retirement village, where we'll also expand into more residential and build our second high school on the island to meet the growing demand. We'll also build out some road networks for future town expansion. We'll also need to address the increased power usage, so we'll build a solar farm that can replace our wind turbines. Alright, let's get building. Okay, so we're going to be starting off today's episode by working in the co-op farm. I'm just continuing a little bit of detailing. Here you can see that I actually have to remove this house to put in this larger farm. And the larger farm already has a building on it, which is why I was okay with the house going away, although it does reduce a little bit of the residential simulation aspect. It keeps the visual aspect of there being a building, so I'm okay with that. Here we're moving back over to the Digby farm. You can see I'm missing a little bit of detailing in this corner lot, so I'm just adding some vehicles, and then we're going to detail around the area and do some more farms in the adjacent lots. So enjoy the time lapse of that. All right, I'm feeling pretty good about that farm there, so it's time to move on to another one next door. Note, it says it's Hickory Agricultural Area. I'm not set on that name. I think it was just the one that the game put in there. If you have any name ideas or suggestions for any of the farms in the area, just let me know in the comments. Alright, so here you can see me placing down a lot of ditches for future farms. I figure I would just do as much at once as possible. If you notice, there's a pattern to how I put the ditches down, and basically the ditch is between a hill and a road. So any water that would be coming down would be intercepted by the ditch. Okay, so we're back here in the retirement village. I'm going to be doing a little more detailing here, similar to the last two locations. I realized I forgot last time to put in these parking spaces, so I got to clean that up, clean up the parking lots. I'll add a few more houses in the area, and just I'll do a little bit of rework with the roads as well, but mostly just adding a little bit of detail to the area. Okay, so I was a little divided on this myself. This was meant to be a retirement village, although the entire island needed a secondary high school. Placing it in Saturday Harbor would be a little too close to the other one, and this is the only other town so far, so this was naturally the best place to put another high school. It does feel a little bit big and modern for the size of this village, but it was necessary for the simulation to run well, and I think as the town expands, it will feel more appropriate. You'll see me play around with the parking lot network in here and trying to figure out where the field is going to go. I flattened out this area and kind of dug into the hill because I'm just not respecting the topography here. I will work the hill into the rest of this build later. I really wanted to do something like that and add a little more verticality to this build. feeling pretty good about the layout of this high school and the parking lot and the field, so I'm just going to add a little bit of detailing now. I'm not sure if the ditches are entirely appropriate here, but I have seen ditches in front of schools in some rural areas in BC, so maybe it's appropriate. Okay, with the school done, I thought I'd expand the residential area just a little bit. I'm trying out a few things with the road network here, and then I'll plop down some houses. now we're starting to get into our hillside build. I wanted to create some windy roads that would go up around this hill and a couple cul-de-sacs, and then it will connect to the rest of the network so that it's not one giant cul-de-sac. I didn't want to go too far down the hill there as to kind of start to encroach on the farms. I wanted a little bit of forest buffer between the homes and the farmland. Now, before we start getting any homes down in that hillside area, I actually wanted to cross the river and reach this other clearing so that I can build more road network for future town expansion. Now this bridge is going to be to connect this new town expansion to the co-op farm road. So there'll be a little more connectivity overall in the area. Tried to make a more unique road layout here. I didn't use anything for inspiration here. It was all just out of my head and working with the landscape and not trying to encroach too much into the forest. I will plop things down and detail that later, but for now I'm happy with the road network. Now I have to find a spot to connect to this road that goes up to the gravel pit and past the co-op farm. I considered making one intersection along that road where the co-op farm went in, but I decided to make two offset T intersections as they're more like accesses instead of a direct route. Now we're getting into plopping houses, and I'll also do a little bit of zoning. can see me here deleting this ditch network that I was actually using to look something like a creek. I didn't like it, so I got rid of it. Now this is where I start doing the zoning instead of plopping. I decided to let the simulation just kind of take over and put in whatever assets I have put into the build so far. It actually worked out pretty well. And then you can also see at the very top of the hill, I am not going to zone. I am going to keep that clear for a park, which I will complete shortly. Now here's that extra bit of road that connects this Hilltop Residential area to the other road that goes to the little town over the river. So that way we don't have this giant cul-de-sac on the hill. Now I'm switching up the type of trees that are growing on this hill. I wanted more Douglas firs that were taller, so I had to first get rid of some other trees and then put those in and then put back some of the other trees that were already in there. And here I have a little time lapse just letting the houses grow in. I really like how this adds almost more height to the hill and lots of scale, and hides some of the houses in a way so they don't look so, I guess, overwhelming or overbearing on the town. I noticed this tiny little piece of land that was kind of separated from the rest of the village and saw a small opportunity for a couple extra cul-de-sacs. I will do more with this later, but for now I just wanted to get down that thought of that road network. I still have lots of people walking in this city. It's something I still haven't solved. If anyone has any ideas of how to fix that, let me know. I mean, I don't have problems with people walking. Walking's great. It's healthy. Less cars on the road. But it doesn't seem quite normal for the simulation to be making so many pedestrians walk so far when they would be either driving or taking the bus. There is a bus route that's currently operational. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Maybe it's the way I set up TMPE at the beginning of the build, but for now we'll just live with it. So I started to have some power issues there, and I had been thinking about this campus for a while as a place to put more power generation. From the very start of this build, I knew I was eventually going to have some sort of solar power plant. This will likely replace those windmills wind turbines that are closer to Saturday Harbor. I never really liked those there, and I want to get rid of them. So here you can see me building a solar farm at the south end of the island, facing to the south so that they actually do get the most light possible. So yeah, enjoy this little time-lapse build of a solar power plant. While I was working over here, I thought I would take this opportunity to build out some of the recycling here, and I can remove recycling station from somewhere else in the build that I actually don't like the location of. This feels appropriate as well because there's that landfill, and while I was at it, I put in this helicopter fire depot because this simulation loves having fire coverage, and this is an island. There's water all around, and to get to other islands, if there's a fire, instead of taking a boat, and if there's no bridge, the helicopter is actually a pretty logical option. So I do like that. Plus, if you've seen my Boomtown Africa series, that has so many fire helicopters in it, and they're pretty effective, although expensive. Now here I'm finally removing those wind turbines. I'm pretty happy to see them gone. I will do something with this hill eventually, probably similar to what you just saw me do a few minutes ago, but I'll think on that, and we'll see what I come up with later. Here I'm just using the parallel line tool or parallel network tool to put in some power lines and connect this substation to the rest of the town. Now I'm producing way too much electricity, so I'm just going to cut the budget way down and try and save myself some money. Okay, so for a brief recap of everything we've done, we detailed out the retirement village and made this tennis complex look a little bit nicer. You can see the community center across the street from it, and a little park detailed there. There's this small kind of main commercial area. I don't really like the buildings there, so I'm going to have to do something eventually. Now here you can see a nice overview of the farms around Digby Farm. It's not quite complete, but I'm really liking how it's shaping up and how the creeks run through the area. Now that'll be all for today. Please enjoy the cinematics. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.